All right. Hey, welcome to Mental Toughness Monday. We're excited to have you here and excited to be here. Last week was number 52. Champions understand the limits of money. Did anyone have anything they wanted to share with us about what they learned or experienced regarding the limits of money? I have to put my glasses on so I can remember, and these aren't even the right ones. Oh
No.
yes, this was great. Somebody told me that they warned me about um playing too much and not working enough. And I was like, no, but if you love what you do, then you're always playing, right? And Bill Gove said when you're doing something you love, the only reward you need is the experience of doing it. Look at that. And you'll never work a day in your life if you're doing stuff that you love, right?
So that's in order to say the money is not the ultimate reward for your work.
Right.
Right. Right.
Right. And the cause and effect is, I mean, what you're doing it for is fulfillment. If you are not having fun and feeling fulfilled in doing the thing that you're doing, then you need to rethink things. And the critical thinking question was, am I focused on the cause of my fulfillment or the effect of my fulfillment? For example, do you exercise for the health benefits you gain or because you love the sport or exercise activity? And that I know is something that we've done a lot as we've talked about sassy habits too, is that the more healthy you get, the better you feel, and the more likely you are to do things that you enjoy doing versus being like, oh my gosh, I have to go to the gym because if I don't, I suck, right?
Mhm.
So so yeah, so that's what we're talking about. Of that feeling of like what's the fulfillment of the things that you're doing. Any thoughts anybody wants to add to that?
That's just a good question for sassy habits.
It's a great question, right? It's a great question. I think we can ask that around the food too, and especially with the holidays and stuff. Am I eating this because of I mean, what's the purpose of the holidays and gathering? Is it the food or is it the people? And I know I'm guilty. I have gone to stuff for the food, right? And dealt with the people. But really, what's the fulfillment, right? What's the reason that we're there? What is the purpose of all of it? And if you spend time in your silent time and you think about those things, not in a way that's judgy or like making you feel guilty or anything, but just like really think about what are you doing here? What are these times for? What does this mean? And also you can ask questions. And I like this one also. I mean, there's plenty of questions you can ask, like, did you have your lunch already? And, da da da. Did you eat, have dessert after you've eaten protein and vegetables? But also questions like, what is it that is what fulfillment do I think that this food, this chocolate, this candy, this whatever is going to give to me? Is there and does it in fact give me that fulfillment? Because you do have that fleeting moment, you do get a little dopamine hit, and that's great. But what do you get long term from that? And is it fulfilling the need that you're trying to fulfill, or could there be something better that you could choose to fulfill that? Speaking of which, I forgot that we were going to start this meeting with an oil.
Yeah, oil B.
Okay, I love these introspective questions that like help us to figure things out. And the oil that I did want to start with today, and I really have the wrong glasses, so I might have to have somebody. Oh, I know, I can read it on my phone because then I can make it the right size.
Adaptive
Is
is
adaptive. Yep, adaptive is the one. Do you want to read it, Mom?
okay. Adaptive was formulated. Oh, and under the name of it, it says adaptability. So that's a good skill too. Adaptive was formulated to assist with anxious states. It imparts reassurance and calm when one is caught in cycles of constriction, tension, worry, solicitude, or uneasiness. When individuals have experienced prolonged stress or traumatic experiences, the mind-body responds by becoming hypervigilant in order to protect them from future harm. This state is antithetical to well-being and positive functioning. Adaptive helps individuals adapt to stressors and fears in more clear, constructive, and confident ways. Adaptive invites individuals to look deeper into the messages behind their emotional manifestations and examine where these reactions may be stemming from. It teaches them to recognize the parts of themselves that need to be given a voice. This blend will partner with individuals in asking the difficult questions of why they don't feel safe and what part of themselves is in need of attention. If it cautions that self-judgment and self-loathing are functions of the inner critic and only inflict further trauma on an already overwhelmed soul. Adaptive teaches the need for kindness towards oneself and self-acceptance for wherever they are on their journey. Adaptive conveys us softly the truth that most of life is beyond the ability to control, and safety is only to be found in the arms of the divine. It reminds the weary soul that the divine has always and will always be there, holding, caring for, and loving them. The invitation from this blend is to not take another step alone when divine love is offering its grace, compassion, and refuge to learn it to lean into. Adaptive asks individuals to exercise faith that they will be carried when they no longer know the way, and to believe they are never alone.
Oh, that is so beautiful and so
It is.
good because I mean, this is helping us to look deeper into those questions, kind of like we were just asking some questions. And then I love also the most of life is beyond the ability to control, and safety is only to be found in the arms of the divine. And that is so powerful because we can be there all the time in every situation that we're in. So I love that. Thank you. And thanks for whoever reminded me about oils. Okay, so let's move on to our
You want to
reading
know
for
how to use?
today.
You want to know how to use this, or have we already spent our time?
Yeah, no, that's fine. If you want to, if there's something sticking out,
Suggested uses: inhale from the bottle, diffuse or place drops on hand, rub and inhale.
use your roller if you have it and
Apply
put it
over
on
the
your
chest,
wrists.
stomach, or forehead. Ah, you know how your stomach is your anxious
Forehead.
place?
Your stomach what?
It's kind of your anxious place.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can put it
remember
on
the
your,
kids would get a stomach ache when they didn't want to go to school?
yep. And remember your amygdala is like right here. Did you know
Oh,
that?
I think I forgot.
I forgot that too. And all that's why we put it also right here on the upper lip. And then breathe that in, and you're immediately going in and being able to feel that, and then put it also on your forehead. I love that.
So the
And
positive
then,
properties are
yep,
reassured, calm, clear, confident, self-acceptance, liberated, trusting, and upheld, and safe. That's a
yes.
lot of positives.
It's so good. This one we need the whole season, right?
Yes, we need to read it every week ourselves.
I love it. All right. Champions are future oriented. This is number 53 of our book, 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World class. While amateurs often live in the past, champions look forward to the future. Pros habitually focus on the present while creating their ultimate vision for and landscape of the future. This future orientation allows them to dream of grand visions and unlimited possibilities. It also keeps them motivated and moving forward by keeping the proverbial carrot out in front. Amateurs like to talk about the good old days and how they wish things were like that, like they were before. Professional performers are just the opposite. The pros revere and respect the past, but place responsibility for the future squarely on their own shoulders. Taking personal responsibility for failures, successes, and actions in general is a trait of world-class performers. The saying, if it is to be, it's up to me, reflects their beliefs. Average people would rather see themselves as victims of circumstances beyond their control. The great ones make their own circumstances and respond with a higher level of awareness to negative events in their lives. Their execution based focus and future orientation keeps them on track. It all begins with taking full responsibility for their lives and their futures. Okay, this is a big one because what are the benefits of hanging around and being a victim to circumstances outside of our control? You guys are all muted. So if you want to share some of those benefits, because we've all done it, right? We know what the benefits are. So what are the benefits? But go ahead and unmute yourself and share some of the benefits of remaining a victim.
It might be self-soothing, but not productive.
Right? It can make you feel better to just be like, that's outside of my control. I can't help it. This happened, that happened, nothing is going my way. People are against me, right? What else? Other things that give you like what's the benefit? And the reason I'm asking for the benefits on this is because you only behave in ways that you are benefiting from. So if you are finding yourself looking around and seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances, then it's because there's a payoff for you. So what are the payoffs? What are some other
Attention.
payoffs?
Attention.
Yes, people pay
Some,
attention to me when everything is going wrong, right?
but life, you remember how organ, what do we call it? Used to call it organ
Organ
recital. Would
recital.
tell us every problem in their whole body that you even never wanted to know about. Or they live on it for weeks and weeks. It's their topic for it.
Right? Okay, good.
I feel
What
like
else?
sometimes we think it's safer and easier to just blame someone else for everything that's going on
Yes,
rather than taking
so good. If someone
responsibility
else,
for the
right? We don't
emotions
have to take. I
that we
love
are,
it.
yeah. Because we do have a choice as to how we're going to react to everything.
Yeah.
It's an absolute choice.
And it's so nice and very comforting when it's someone else's fault and we can just stand around and point fingers, right?
Hmm.
So I just had this flash of how, have you read Brian Tracy yet? All great leaders have vision of idealization. You read that?
Go ahead and read it.
All great leaders have vision and idealization in which they can continually imagine the perfect outcome of all situations. And I just want, not to be political, but I just want you to look at the things that are happening since Trump took over as a president-elect. I mean, he is taking over. And he has, with his personality and his strong will to get war off the table, he has caused people to come join him in even our enemies saying they're not enemies anymore.
Right?
We don't want to
Right?
be on the terrorist list. We don't want to, we are not looking at the West as our enemy. I mean, important things that are going to save the world. And that is one of the best things about future oriented and what can be done about changing people's minds.
It's very powerful because if you look at the situation, I mean, we have authorized as a country, President Biden has authorized the use of deadly force and they've put long range missiles, they've shot them into Russia and killed, I think, 4 Russian soldiers. And yet we are still not in a nuclear war or World War III. And that I do believe. I also have to say, and I'm not necessarily I don't have anyway, I do think it's a lot of self-control on the part of President Putin as well. Not to He doesn't want to blow up the world. He doesn't. That's what it looks like to me, is that he's
He's
looking
very staid and
and he's willing to wait for cooler heads to prevail. And I just think it's super powerful because I don't know that we would be that cool if somebody fired long range missiles into our country. Do you know what I'm saying?
right, right.
So keep praying for our country and for the whole world, or spending your thoughtful, imaginings. And I love this also with imagine. It's such a great word. But I heard someone say you could re-pronounce that word as I'm a genie. I'm a
Ah,
genie.
I'm a genie.
And so think of those things that you want to create with that. So I love that we spent some time talking about what are the benefits of being a victim. And I love now that we're talking about what are the benefits of taking responsibility. And even before you really have the responsibility, even before maybe you're not officially in a position yet, but maybe that your job and your role in your own life and in whatever you've been asked to participate in, what good can you do right now in the position that you're in, at the rank that you're at, whatever the situation is with your family, your business, your community, where you're having these opportunities to contribute. What are some responsibilities that you can take? And don't take stuff that's not your responsibility, but what are the things that you actually can make a difference in? And can you take steps in that direction? And can you imagine, use your little genie, I'm a genie, um, a future that looks brighter and better? So, any thoughts about your future or I'm a genie?
I love it.
All right, we have an action step for today. This is a job of programming yourself by repeating this statement until you believe it. The past is only important as it relates to the present and the future. And any mistakes in my past have been for the purpose of helping me create a beautiful future. This affirmation harnesses the power of the past and directs it to the only place it can serve you in the future. This is so powerful. And I think in our society today, it would also be helpful to recognize that the past is only important as it relates to the present and the future. And any mistakes that have been made in the past have been for the purpose of helping us to create a beautiful and bountiful future. It says bountiful, not beautiful. So then we're also harnessing the affirmation. It's easy to point fingers and be victims of our forebears who made all kinds of crazy mistakes, right? It's really easy to look at the past and judge them on our own thoughts of like our own norms and our own culture. And it's unfair to do that, just as unfair as it would be for your great great grandchildren to judge you in your life, for what you're doing right now, because you're doing the best that you can with all of the circumstances and the way the world is and the emotions that we're dealing with and everything else. And we don't know all of the circumstances and the way the world was and the emotions that they were dealing with 3 or 4 generations ago when they were making all these horrible mistakes, which many of them have turned out to be mistakes, but many of the things that they did were wonderful. And we live in this bountiful future that was their bountiful future is our present. And we live here now because of them. So I think those are some excellent thoughts. We do have a resource available for this week as well called Listen to Create the Future, How to Think Big, Act Bold, and Be a Visionary by Bill Gov, Larry Wilson, Bob Proctor, and Steve Siebold. You can find it at govsiebold.com. So I will go check out that link. And if it's still a good link or if I can find that resource, I'll post it under the comments of this recording so that we can have access to that as well. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning. It was a great, great visit, and I've really enjoyed sharing it with you.